So we've already seen that in our template, we start with a header comment at the top, but we haven't really talked about the difference between like what this extra star is here for, and or anything about this. There's also an author comment that we haven't really been discussing, but this week the chapter does talk about it, and it talks about how you can generate documentation automatically by putting some special symbols, in fact slash with 2 stars after it, into your source code. Then we will be able to run a separate command that is different than javac and Java that will actually generate a documentation page for my code. So that's going to be really useful. Let's see how we would do that. So the first thing that I'm going to do for this lab is to add some block comments above my methods, and I'll do that in a very similar way to the block comments that I have already. So here's and there's nothing really set in stone here. I just want to describe what the method does and what the method's name is. So print M prints the letter M in large format. And then I will end my comment here. I'll often take my to-do items and turn them into JavaDoc as well. So for example, this one. Usually I'll use single line comments like this when I'm making notes to myself or commenting in the code, either on its own line or at the end of a line of code. And then later on I can go back and make them JavaDoc comments as I like. So here's another one. For the moment, I'm not going to worry too much about the format of this block comment, just that we have block comments now and that we can use JavaDoc to generate them. So prints the word Mississippi, making calls to the individual letter message, something like that. As the book says, half the time, or maybe even more than half the time, the person who's going to be going back and looking at the JavaDoc for your programs is you, and just trying to remember what they do when you haven't seen it for 6 months. But if you're working in a big team, it is really important that you put comments into your code so that other programmers can quickly go into your code and get up to speed on what it does. Okay, so I've put a couple of these in, and you can go and put the rest of them in. There should be one above each one of these letter methods. But let's see how I actually generate the JavaDoc. In our text, it has a description of how you do this. So in the terminal window, we're going to be issuing this command, JavaDoc. We have to compile the file first, so we'll do that first. And then we'll put the -author flag in there so that it will know to use the author part. So let me first compile my changes in. And now I will also generate the JavaDoc. Actually, now that I've done that, I'm not totally sure I needed to do the javac there. I think I did not. Oh well. And then it gives me some output, and then at the end you can kind of see what it's doing. It's generating some files. So let's take a look now to see these things. ls. Wow, there's quite a few things in here. Now there is a whole bunch of HTML files as part of my folder, and this is the one that goes specifically with the big letter methods, and this is the one that goes with my index. This is like the overall index. If I had multiple classes that I was trying to JavaDoc, then this index would link to all of them. On the Macintosh, I can quickly open this folder in the Finder. By some method, now I would like to get to this folder so I can double-click on that HTML file and open it in my browser of my choice, like Chrome or Firefox. So I'm just going to, it's so quick to do it this way on Mac, this is the way I'm going to do it. Open space dot, which just means open up the current folder. Dot is always the current folder. So I can quickly get a little shell here. It's where I can see the different HTML files. So here's the one for big letter methods. I'm just going to open that in a different browser right now than the one that I've been using, so it can be tidy. this is what it generates. Isn't that cool? So it goes through your code and it says, okay, this is public class big letter methods, and then it puts an author line in there. It uses my author line. We'll talk later in the semester about what the constructor is, and then it will go through and see and make a list of what your methods are. And then because I have JavaDoc comments above print M and print Mississippi, it just puts those here in the description area. So this is just so amazing. I love JavaDoc. And then let's take a quick look at the index file while we're here. Index.html looks like this, where it basically talks about the same kind of things because we only have one class here. A lot of this is redundant. For this lab, I want you to hand in just the your Java file, of course, and then also your generated HTML file. Just the one for the class is okay. So what you should do is go into your code in JEdit and put some block comments in above each one of these methods so that they'll show up in the JavaDoc, and then run the JavaDoc to generate your HTML file.